Hey everyone, Pratik here back with another video. So, welcome to my Cybertalk series. This is a really special episode. Today I'll be talking to hakluke. He's a great bug bounty hunter, manager of training and quality assurance at Bugcrowd. He is creating content about self-growth and hacking. And he's a YouTuber also. As a security researcher, I truly admire his work and I'm obliged to have him with us today. So, welcome sir to my YouTube channel. And thank you so much for taking the time out and joining on my channel. I am very honored to have you as my guest.
I am very honored to be here and lovely to meet you, Pratik. We've been talking for a couple of weeks now, I guess, but it's nice to actually catch up and be able to do something and make some content with each other.
So the first question is, can you please give some quick recap about your journey in bug bounty?
A recap, yeah, of course. So I came from a web development background. I was basically, well, actually I finished school. I got into IT support. I'm giving you the super quick version. IT support into music. I did music for maybe 5 years or so. And then I came back into IT as a web developer. Which I'd kind of been doing freelance the whole time anyway. But yeah, I started doing that full time. And then after web development, I managed to get a job as a penetration tester and get my OSCP and all that kind of stuff. And then while I was working as a penetration tester, I started kind of really started looking into bug bounties on different platforms and things and figuring out what it was all about. And then I started trying to find some bugs. And yeah, basically, I haven't ever stopped since.
So the second question is, what motivated you to become a bug bounty hunter and when did you start?
Okay, well, I started about, I guess, probably 2 years ago now, something like that. What motivated me most was basically I'd started becoming involved with, I guess, the hacking community on social media and everything while I was a penetration tester. I was going to a lot of cybersecurity meetups. I was following a lot of people on Twitter. And I started seeing like lots of really cool write-ups beyond like the OWASP top 10 and all that kind of stuff that were coming out, like new research that was coming out on Twitter. And I started realizing that actually a lot of the new research that was coming out is coming from bug bounty hunters. A lot of these great tools that were getting written and released were also coming from bug bounty hunters. So I guess I just wanted to join in with that community and everything. And of course, I was also seeing people posting about these amazing payouts that they were getting from doing bug bounties. And I wanted a part of that. And yeah, so I just, that really motivated me. It was, you know, partly money, partly community, partly just like wanting to do some security stuff that was kind of more involved and more research focused and less kind of, I guess, checkboxy and not so interesting. And also I needed something to do in my free time. And, you know, I started looking at all these bug bounty platforms and the public programs that were available when I first started. And I realized that, you know, I can start doing security testing on like some of the biggest companies in the world, like some of the best tech companies and banks and, you know, universities and like all of these really, really cool targets that I could just like spend my free time trying to hack. So that was pretty exciting as well. And that was part of the reason that I dove into bug bounties.
Yep. Yeah, actually, I actually following you on Twitter and your Twitter tips actually. A few days ago, you write a blog about how to use EMAs effectively for bug bounties.
I think, you know, like there are a lot of like fundamental tools out there for doing all kinds of things from reconnaissance to like exploiting like particular things or whatever. And a lot of people either don't know the difference between like tools that are just kind of experimental and part-time and tools that have really stood the test of time, been out for a long time, and they do a lot of stuff and they're super stable and they've had like 100 people kind of, you know, contributing to them for the last decade or whatever. It's like tools like Nmap. I'm thinking about Nmap right now. And curl are super, super powerful. And a lot of people don't know how to use them. So I love writing those kind of guides. And that a mass guide that I wrote is just another one of those. Like,
Yes.
I think that people really need to understand the power of those fundamental tools. And then when you start experimenting with like new tools that are getting released, you understand like where they come from, where they've grown from, and kind of maybe how to use them the most effectively. So yeah, that amass, I'd recommend, like, if you're not sure how to use amass, or you're only using amass, going amass enum -d and then the domain name, I'd recommend you go and check out that blog post for some other uses that you might be able to put it to.
Okay, sure. Guys, link in the description. Make sure, guys, you check this out. Okay. So the next question is, so the third question is, what, according to you, is the biggest challenge you face in your bug bounty when you start, and how did you overcome it?
The biggest challenge that I faced, I mean, for me, the hardest point in my bug bounty hunting was when I first started doing it, like at the very beginning. And obviously I kind of had some hacking skills because I was working full time as a penetration tester, finding loads of bugs in like my job, like as a penetration tester. But then I tried to apply kind of the same concepts to bug bounties. And when I did that, I started realizing that I wasn't getting any results, or nowhere near the same amount of results as I was when I was doing penetration testing. And that's because I guess the methodology that I built up as a penetration tester was a very stock standard, like normal methodology that you would do as a penetration test. Because as a penetration tester, you know, one of your primary purposes is to provide assurance and to be able to say, I've done all of these checks on all of these parameters, and I can tell you that it's not vulnerable in any of these like standard ways. But when we start looking at bug bounties, like a lot of the bugs that get found in bug bounties are the kinds of bugs that you need to spend more time on. You need to have like, you know, methodologies that differ from most people. You need to be looking for different things. And that took me a while to get used to. And the reason for that, by the way, is that, you know, especially when you're first starting out and you're just looking at public programs, the vast majority of programs that you'll be looking at have already gone through basically a pen testing methodology from a whole bunch of other people already, right? So you need to be going that extra mile and looking for these like little quirks or these little different ways that you might be able to approach the application or the network service or the target or whatever that other people might not have done yet to be really successful. And I had quite a bit of trouble, I think, making that transition in my methodology and in my thought process. So to answer your question more succinctly, that is what I had the most trouble with. It was changing my mindset from, you know, methodology, pen test based to more in-depth bug bounty based hunting. Okay.
So the next question is, what is your hobby aside from hacking?
Well, I'm right into music. I play trumpet.
Okay.
So I do that. Not at the moment. Like I usually kind of a couple of nights a week, I go and catch up with some friends and play in bands. But that hasn't been happening since COVID-19 has hit. So I haven't been doing much of that lately, but other than that, I love spending time with my family and yeah, hanging out with friends. That's about it, really. I do spend a lot of time on the computer, but I try to limit that.
Okay, that's great. So next question is, how do you maintain your schedule as a dry job, family man, and guitarist?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm a guitarist at first.
But I saw that video on Twitter. You play very well.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I can kind of like, you know, thumb my way through some stuff, but I wouldn't say I'm a guitarist, but thank you. So how do I maintain my schedule? Well, I work 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. So that schedule is kind of just work stuff, 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. Sometimes because I'm in Australia and Bugcrowd is a US company, I'm often in like meetings and things that might be out of those hours. But, you know, I just kind of deal with that as it comes. And yeah, all of the other time that I have outside of work, I try to prioritize my family first. And then music stuff is just like, it's just a hobby for me now. So it's like, if I have free time or if there's a rehearsal on that I want to go to, I'll go to that. But yeah, managing time is something that I'm always trying to figure out. And, you know, it's just basically a constant thing for me. It's a constant struggle. I have to constantly like look at what I've got coming up and then try and kind of prioritize what I need to get done the most. And remember that family is more important than computers.
Yes. That's family is more important first. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Now let's talk about some recon and automation stuff. So there is some questions, sir. What should people automate and what is your strategy for this, for the bug bounty?
So what should people automate is the first part, and what's my strategy? So I would say, what should people automate? I mean, it's up to you. Like, automation is such a general kind of overarching term, but if you are trying to figure out whether you should or shouldn't automate something, it's quite simple, right? Is it going to save you time to automate it, or is it going to lose you time to automate it? Like, automation is, for me, it's all about saving time and being able to scale quickly. So basically just saving time. So if you're doing a task every day and it takes 10 minutes and you could spend 2 or 3 hours automating that process, then it's worth it. Because if you're doing it every day, you're going to save time in the long run. Over 6 months, you're going to save hours, right? But if you're just automating something because it's cool to automate, and you know, you're spending like a week automating something that takes a few seconds, like, there's obviously no point. So for me, it's purely a time maths thing. Like, is automating this going to save me time? Yes or no? If it is, then I'll probably do it. The other side of the coin is, when you're talking about automation, for me, like, bug bounty automation is about building passive income. So if I can automate as much of my workflow as possible, it means that later down the line, when I don't have as much time for hunting, when I do sit down for hunting, I'm doing only the things that need to manually be done by me. And I'm not wasting my time running scans and stuff that can just be done by my computer while I'm sleeping. So yeah, that's pretty much how I decide. And you asked me what my strategy is for automation. I guess I just kind of talked about that, but basically I automate my organization. So I have like a set kind of structure for the way that I store all of the data that I gather during bug bounties. And as much of that data that can be gathered automatically as possible, I gather it automatically. And yeah, when I sit down to hack, like, I already have like prioritized my automation has already prioritized the targets that I'm going to be hacking on. And it might have found some low-hanging vulnerabilities along the way. So yeah, that's it.
Yep. And so can you tell me something about your mind map, like how you choose the target, and first how you recon for this target? And
how do I choose a target? I'm notoriously bad at this. I basically just I basically choose all targets. I mean, one of the beauties of bug bounties for me is that you've got millions of targets that you can hack at any one time. So you can scale out your hunting. And yeah, for me, like, that's one of the things. But then when I go to choose something, a specific target to hack on manually, when I'm going to like put my own time into hacking a specific target, it usually comes down to what I think is going to yield me the most bugs, right? So essentially, like, what I'm always trying to strive for is fresh targets. And targets can be fresh in a number of ways. They can be fresh because it's a new program. So the program's just been released. That means all the targets are fresh. So it's good to hack on that. Some of the other ways that they can be fresh are if a new subdomain has just popped up and there's something interesting running on that I want to look at, I'll look at that.
Yeah.
There might be like a new IP address that's just popped up, or the DNS records may have changed. My automation may have found a particular thing that's running on that server that I want to check out because I think it might be vulnerable. Or I might see something that's like an old software version or like a custom looking web app that looks dodgy. You know, I think like over time you just build up this experience of like what looks vulnerable and what doesn't look vulnerable. And when you see something looks vulnerable, like you're naturally going to want to hack it. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. So sir, next question is, as a beginner, many are going for the automation tools for finding the vulnerabilities. So is it a good approach, or we should learn a manual approach? Any tip from your side to all the bug bounty hunters?
I think that you definitely need to do both. Like, I've found a lot of bugs through automation, but I guess my best bugs were found manually. And, you know, the thing that you always need to keep in mind with bug bounties is that you're up against a lot of other people, and all of those people have access to the same tools that you do. So I love Nuclei and I always recommend it. But if you're only using Nuclei to find bugs on bug bounty programs, so is everybody else. And everybody else has access to Nuclei, the tool, and everybody else has access to the Nuclei templates. So if you're running Nuclei over bug bounty targets, there is a very high chance that someone else has already done that. And if Nuclei finds anything, there's a very, very high chance that it's already been found and already been reported. So, you know, automation is great, but ultimately you need to have something unique about your hunting to be able to kind of stand out from the rest of the crowd and to be able to find bugs that other people aren't finding. So I guess my answer there is, like, if you're going to sink your time into either automation or manual hacking, I'd go manual hacking because you'll probably find more bugs. But automation is super powerful if you can build custom automation that's looking for things that like other automation tools are not looking for. So, but that might be considered manual hacking.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's totally true. That's why I asked that question. So the next question is, what do you think are the most important requirements to become a bug bounty hunter?
Most important requirements, I would say number one would have to be creativity. Like I said just before, like you need to be standing out from the crowd. So, you know, in terms of like who you are as a person, I think like being creative is the number one thing that's going to put you ahead of other people, because you need to be unique in your hunting to stand out. What other things though? I think persistence is a big one. So I get a lot of messages from people who like have just started bug bounties and they're like, I've been like spraying XSS payloads for a week and I still haven't found any cross-site scripting. And it's like you need to be both more creative and more persistent. Like starting bug bounties and expecting to make 5 figures in a week is unreasonable. And you know, it takes a long time and a lot of persistence to be earning good money from bug bounties. And other than persistence and creativity, I would just say like a good work ethic. You know, like I would say you need to know what's going on in the security world. You need to kind of have a fundamental understanding of like the most common vulnerabilities and other vulnerabilities that might kind of be newer, or like styles of hacking that might be newer. I think you just need to be like generally across a lot of things to kind of know, like when you see a particular thing on a web app, you need to know what to try next, you know? Yeah.
What resources would you recommend to people to study and practices for the bug bounties?
Okay, so I feel like I say these resources every time, but the Web Application Hacker's Handbook is one that is like just a classic to recommend. It's a book, and I always give this disclaimer as well. I say, don't use it as a novel, use it as a resource, like a guide, a reference. That's a better word. So, you know, I've seen people try and get through the Web Application Hacker's Handbook and they start the book and they get like, you know, a few chapters in and they're like, wow, this is a long read, but it's not really meant to be read front to back. I would say like it's more as a reference. It explains bugs really well. So I think it's good to like kind of understand what's in the book. And then like when you come up against an app and you're like, I think this might be like something that I would test SQL injection on, you can go back to the book and like read everything about SQL injection. But other than that, that's a great resource. But Pentesterlab is really awesome. Pentesterlab.com, I think, is the website. And they've got, a lot of people don't seem to realize that they have loads of free exercises that you can download that will get you well on the way to learning at least like basic vulnerability types. And, you know, a lot of people are kind of after pro Pentesterlab subscriptions, but they still haven't tried the free ones. Like it doesn't add up to me. So check out the free ones first, because like, then you will at least like know what you can expect when you sign up for Lab. So they're free to download. You just like, it's just an ISO, I think, and you just spin it up in like VirtualBox or some other virtualization software. And then you can just do all the exercises that are free. And then if you like that kind of style, you can pay for Pentesterlab Pro, which will, which, you know, it's cool because all of the exercises are hosted online, and also there are like way more exercises and you get more recent ones and things like that. So yeah, Pentesterlab and Web Application Hackers Handbook. Other than that, like just checking out all the bug bounty write-ups, being on Twitter, being involved with the community, you know, just like watching bug bounty kind of news, I guess, to be up with the latest kind of stuff that's happening. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yep. Okay. So, sir, I get lots of messages. Like I am doing Insta posted regularly or doing YouTube about the bug bounty tools and some basic vulnerabilities. So many people asking the message like, what platform should I start first, a hackerone or a Bugcrowd? So for a beginner, what would you suggest to hunt on, Bugcrowd or hackerone? That is a main thing.
Obviously, I'm going to say Bugcrowd because I work for Bugcrowd. But you know, like there's nothing stopping you from hacking everywhere, basically. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of useless for me to answer the question because I work for Bugcrowd. But I think that Bugcrowd is a great place to start. You know, we have the vulnerability rating taxonomy, which is basically a list of bugs that you can look for. Like that makes it super easy. So you can look at that, and then you can, you know, obviously it's not 100%. Like the priority ratings that are on the VRT and the bug classes are not necessarily exactly how it lines up when you submit them. So you know, depending on the program that you're submitting to, they can decide that they are not accepting this type of issue, or that they don't really care about, like, you know, whatever gets submitted. But yeah, in general, like that's a pretty good guide to go for. And you know, a lot of people start from P4 because they think they're going to be easier, and they work their way up. But I would recommend going the other way. Start from P1 and check for those bugs first, and then work your way down P2, B3, B4. Because you know, if there's an easy to find P4, it's almost definitely going to be a duplicate.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. So the next question is, many people right now getting the duplicates on the bug bounty because this field is also competition. It's too much right now. Many bug bounty hunters coming. So getting so much duplicates. So many people are starting a bug bounty, and after 1 or 2 months getting duplicates. So he left. So like, what can you give some motivation tips?
So here's the thing about duplicates, right? If you found a duplicate, you found a valid bug. So that's awesome, right? Pat yourself on the back. But secondly, just from like seeing what I've seen working for Bugcrowd, I can see that there are a lot of people coming into bug bounties and submitting low severity submissions that are very easy to find. And, you know, to name a couple of categories specifically, missing DMARC records or misconfigured DMARC records. There are
SPF records.
Yeah, another one is like when you, there's like an
rate limiting.
Unlimited emails can be sent when you send forgot password.
Rate limiting, account lockouts, URL redirections, lack of password confirmation on delete accounts. Yeah, I see actually, because when I started 1.5 years ago, I also submit those types of reports.
So that's it. Like they're very easy to find, but because they're so easy to find, everybody's submitting them. So if you're submitting, like, especially on like a program that's been around for more than like a week, they've already been submitted. Like, don't even bother. And I get the same messages. I get people messaging me saying like, I can only find duplicates, but then it's because they're only submitting bugs that are very easy to find and very low severity. And the other thing about submitting like these like kind of low quality write-ups and low severity issues is that the programs generally like aren't very concerned about low severity bugs compared to like P1s and P2s and things like that. So, in terms of providing value as a researcher to the program and like furthering yourself as in like from a learning standpoint and things like that, like you're not doing yourself any favors. It's much better to put the time that you would spend kind of submitting these like 100 DMARC issues that are all going to be duplicates. It's much better to take that time and put it into like furthering your education and learning more about hacking and learning more about bug bounties so that you're enabling yourself to be able to find and submit higher severity bugs that are actually going to pay out and that won't be duplicates. And, I've said it a couple of times in this call already, but the key to finding bugs that are not duplicates is to do things that other people are not doing. You want to be finding fresh targets and you want to be hacking in ways that other people are not necessarily hacking. And you want to go really deep and you want to do those things that like other people just like, they can't be bothered doing. So for example, like if you're setting up if you're testing a new web application, make a user with every role and then go through those roles and like test every single endpoint for not authorization issues. I can't think of the word, like access control issues between like things like that. People are like, a lot of the bugs that I see have been there for ages, but people just haven't bothered testing the app thoroughly. So, that's where the money is. It's not in submitting P4s basically.
Okay. So the next question is, what is the procedure like when I submit a bugs on a Bugcrowd and after that reward processes? So how these things work?
Okay, so in general, like we receive a bug from a researcher, and before it gets to the program, usually it will come to a Bugcrowd ASE or a Bugcrowd triager, and from there, the Bugcrowd triager will kind of check if the bug is a duplicate first. If it's not a duplicate, they will validate that bug. So they will say you submit a SQL injection. The Bugcrowd triager will basically go to the website and try and replicate whatever you have submitted. They will try and like make sure that the bug actually exists. And if it does exist, then we kind of pass that bug onto the program, and we will provide basically our assessment of what we think the priority rating should be, and usually that's accepted as the priority rating that the ultimate bug is. But yeah, after that, the program will get a notification and they come and check out the bug, and they will like do their own analysis and hopefully accept the bug as valid and pay out the researcher as it moves to unresolved. So that's what happens if you submit a valid bug. If you submit a duplicate, then basically the bug comes in, the Bugcrowd triager finds that the submission has come in before, and they just mark it as a duplicate, and that's it. That's all that happens. And if you submit a bug that is not reproducible or is out of scope or something like that, obviously, as soon as the triager sees it, they will know that, and they mark it according to what the bug was.
Okay. So, sir, how was your experience to working with a Bugcrowd?
How was my experience working with Bugcrowd? Yeah, it's amazing. It's a really great place to work, and as a company, like it's just a great company. And also, I really enjoy working in the bug bounty space. And the reason I love working in the bug bounty space is because I feel like it's new compared to the rest of information security. I feel like in terms of like what cybersecurity looks like for an organization, we are pushing the boundaries, and we are kind of like, you know, it's great having kind of a say and being able to kind of shape the future of bug bounties. And just crowdsourced security in general, I think, you know, it's got a long way to go still, and we're still in the early stages of it. And you know, responsible disclosure and bug bounties are becoming more and more prevalent and more kind of accepted and known, especially to bigger organizations. And I just think it's amazing. And I've seen this work. You know, I've seen crowd security work both as a researcher now also as a Bugcrowd employee. I've just seen the power of crowdsourced security. It's amazing, like the kind of bugs that get found, and you know how many bugs get found even on simple web applications and things, just because there are so many people that are kind of like you know, highly skilled, and they're all looking at the same application. So it's very powerful, and I think it's also very necessary for like especially larger organizations who couldn't possibly like order a penetration test and have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 20 pen testers look at the whole scope and find meaningful bugs. What they need is like continuous coverage with like 1,000 people looking at it all the time, and monitoring for changes, and like, you know, and they need to be incentivized with bounties.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just think it's like that model is like super powerful. You know, I'm totally against the whole like bug bounties versus pen testers argument, because pen testing is super important too. It has like a very important place. And, you know, obviously that kind of thing is going to provide lots and lots of value to companies as well. But yeah, bug bounties add a whole other dimension, which I think is becoming more and more part of cybersecurity in general.
So, sir, your favorite tools in?
All right, Burp Suite is like, you know, my go-to hacking tool for pretty much everything. But, you know, I really like a lot of the stuff that Project Discovery is coming out with, like Nuclei and obviously like the more recent versions of Subfinder have been from them. I love AMAS for, you know, recon stuff, not just subdomain domain enumeration, but just in general. Nmap, and a lot of Tom Nom Nom's tools just for like general tasks. I use his stuff. Yeah, a lot of like if I use anything other than those tools, they're usually custom things that I've kind of developed for myself. Some of them I've released like Hackruler, and others are not polished enough to probably release. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are the tools that I use on the daily.
Yeah. So, sir, next question is, how much time do you give for bug bounties in your daily routine? When you are doing a full-time bug bounty. Right now you're working with Bugcrowd, so I think that is not possible to doing a bug bounty. I think. Oh so.
No, I still do bug bounties. Maybe not as much just because I'm busy. But yeah, we can still do bug bounty. Even if you work for Bugcrowd, you can still hack on Bugcrowd programs. You just can't hack on the programs that you've seen the queue for. So say I've looked at the queue for Tesla and I've seen what other people are submitting on Tesla, then I can't hack on Tesla. And also I'm not allowed to say, I see like a 0-day vulnerability get submitted. I'm obviously not allowed to steal that and start submitting it. So that's for obvious reasons. It would be very unfair otherwise. Yeah, but other than that, I do still do bug bounties, and yeah, I enjoy that a lot. But my daily routine, it just totally depends on the day. But yeah, usually what happens is I wake up in the morning, I kind of go for a walk, have some breakfast, have a coffee, start work. And then I finish work and I kind of like have dinner with my family and spend some time with my family, put my daughter to bed. And then my wife and I will spend a bit of time together. And then usually we both kind of jump on our laptops and she's kind of working from her laptop and I'll do some bug bounties then. But at the moment I'm doing a lot of coding because I've got a tool release coming up soon, hopefully. But I'm not going to talk about that yet.
Now some quick rapid fire questions. Your favorite browser, Chrome or Firefox?
Oh, Chrome.
Okay. Google or DuckDuckGo?
Google or what?
DuckDuckGo.
Oh, Google.
Okay. So, bug bounty or full-time job?
Oh, that's tough. I mean, my full-time job is very related to bug bounties, so I don't know. I guess it depends.
Okay. Sorry for this controversial questions. Bugcrowd or hackerone?
Bugcrowd.
Okay. Your favorite like web pen testing or mobile pen testing?
Web.
Web. Your favorite games?
Fortnite and Call of Duty.
Okay. TikTok or YouTube?
YouTube.
Okay. Best hacking movies and series that you like and you suggest to some people go and watch it?
Like a television series or like a movie or something?
Both.
Mr. Robot was pretty awesome.
Yeah. So I guess that's it for today. I would like to thank hakluke for joining this Cybertalk and sharing his knowledge and experience with our audience. It will surely help us in future and it was an honor to host you. So thank you, sir, for your time and giving me the chance to doing a Cybertalk with you.
Thank you, Pratik. It's an absolute pleasure. And to anyone watching, like, good luck on your bug bounty journey. And like, I hope you are all like super successful. I hope you all achieve everything that you want to achieve. And just like keep going, keep at it.
Thank you. Okay, so guys, you can find hakluke from Instagram, Twitter, and you can also follow the blogs on Medium. Okay, and you can also hakluke actually is very active on Twitter. So if you have any doubts, you can message him. Okay, and guys, if you like this video, press the thumbs up, and if you are new on my channel, make sure guys you press the subscribe, hit the bell icon. So whenever I upload the video, you will get the notification. So this is Благодаря, over and out.